Hey everybody, due to some unforeseen circumstances, the podcast you're about to watch is actually a rerun from the Working Words podcast. There's been some sickness in the family, and we have been unable to film an episode or record an episode for this week. So this is an episode from a couple years ago with Cade Stover. Cade Stover is now a tight end on the Houston Texans, but in this podcast, he was still a tight end for the Ohio State Buckeyes. He's also a farm kid, as you're going to find out, and he's a great representative of ag in the NFL. So thank the world of Cade, and had a great time talking to him. So enjoy.
The button now. We're recording, and we just kind of start just having a conversation.
Just shooting the shit.
Just shooting the shit, pretty much.
I like that.
Yep.
So do you want to introduce this guy? Or?
Usually I do that before. We can do that now, too, like off the camera, like when I'm editing it. But so we're sitting here with Cade Stover. Cade, you're the starting tight end of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Nailed the or the?
The.
The, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the.
Don't use the in Columbus?
No, you're good. You asked me, probably. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep. So besides being a Ohio State football player, you're also a farmer, right?
Right, yeah.
So I thought that was really cool when I found that out. I mean, usually you don't see, high school Division I athletes on that big of a scale that are also from agriculture. So when I found that out, I was like, man, I'd really like to get you on the podcast. So thanks for doing this.
No, I've watched your videos for 4 or 5 years now, so.
Well, appreciate you working on my schedule too.
Yeah.
I know we've had this thing scheduled like 3 or 4 times.
So that's all right. Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yep. So where do you want to start at?
Whatever you want.
Let's start with schedule. How does a football schedule for a D1 athlete work into a farm schedule?
Right.
You guys have cattle. You have a little bit of corn.
Right. Yeah, we raise freezer beef, so we run close to 90, 100 head of cattle up at the house, and the football schedule varies from every single season. So in the fall, of course, you're basically shut off.
One day a week.
you're shut off from the rest of the world. So just like in a normal week, Mondays would be our day off.
Well, this is in the fall.
In the fall, so like Mondays would be your day off. And by day off, you come in for film in the morning, treatments in the morning, and basically start watching film for that next opponent you're playing that week. Tuesday, you take classes in the morning, every class you got, and then you show up at the facility around 12. And you get out of the facility after practice and meetings, and you eat and get your other treatment. You walk in the door 8:15, 8:30 at night, and then you have to lift next morning at 6:30 probably. And that goes on until Friday, and then Friday you have a walkthrough around 2 o'clock before the game, and then we go and have a dinner at the golf course. It's kind of like the tradition in Ohio State. You go and have the dinner at the golf course with all the team and all the coaches and everybody like that. After that, we go to the hotel. So you don't stay at your place on Friday nights. You stay at a hotel.
Even on a home game?
All games. Yes.
Okay.
Every single game. Home games, you stay at the Blackwell Hotel. And if the worst part is you have a night game because you wait around all day to play a game. And you're just sitting there and you're just ready to play. You're ready to play. And, those are always a disaster. And then Sundays, we come in Sunday's the day we get to sleep in. We come in 12-ish, eat some lunch, and get the treatment because normally you feel like crap on Sunday after the game. Excuse me. Have a little walk-through, run-through practice kind of thing. Get your legs moving, trying to get the lactic acid, what they call it, get the soreness out of you. And then basically repeat that over every single week. You're just doing like that. And then after the bowl game, you get 2 weeks, week and a half, just to be home with your family, which is awesome. It's always awesome. Such a breath of fresh air.
So when that happens, do you have to go to school or to class?
Right. So the classes are over at that point. So we're waiting for the fall.
So that's Christmas break, isn't it?
Right. You're waiting for the spring semester to start.
So ideally, a bowl game is like January 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And classes start like the 12th, 15th. So you have about a week there.
Okay.
So everybody goes home. And then winter, you're training every morning, 6:30. You're lifting in one of those groups. You train till 10:30. Go to your classes, whatever you got to do going on. And then normally, like for guys that we have a lot of guys that come in back at 5 o'clock just to get extra work in with somebody. But that's the most, like, so that's pretty free. And then you get the weekends off in the winter, which is awesome. So Friday nights, I usually shoot home, and I'll stay home. Me and my girlfriend will go home and stay at the farm and basically help dad on the farm for the weekends and drive back Sunday night since it's only an hour.
Okay.
And then spring ball, it's basically the same schedule as fall.
I'm guessing now you're in spring ball.
Right. So you just do it in the morning, so instead. So all your stuff, all your practice and everything is the morning. So instead of like a lifting schedule being 6 to 8 to 10 area, you're 6 to 12. That area, you're in the morning block. And that's fine. It works good. And then the spring game comes, and then after the spring game is when we get our most time off.
So with the spring ball, you're probably it's not as physically taxing. I mean, you're not having contact like you do on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening.
No, I mean we're still getting after
still
it.
Sore, still.
But every other day we have pads on. So like if we have pads on today, we don't have pads on tomorrow. It's like you takes care of your body a little bit more.
Gotcha. So back to the fall. Say you got a game at noon. Game's over at 3:00. What are you doing from 3:00 till till Sunday morning?
Well, it depends on how you feel. After some games, you're not doing anything, but you're going straight to your bed, and you probably won't move from there on out. A lot of times, my girlfriend does good with just, hey, I'm starving. What do you want to eat? But usually my family comes up. We'll go grab something to eat after that. And then really just, we live off campus. So we actually have like a house. Me,
Yep.
Tommy Eichenberg, and Still Chambers. So like we have a little riding lawnmower. Like it's actually like the people beside us are retired, and other people have their family beside us, and there's us in the middle of it.
So you're not living at the AGR house?
No. I do go there, though. I got to compete there. But we have a blast out there, and we hang out there and just try and, like, you maximize every off minute you can possibly get.
Gotcha. So, like, let's say, like after the Michigan game, was that a home game this year?
Right.
So how does that evening go?
After this year, that was top 5 worst evenings of my life.
I mean, is that just a shut the lights off, go to sleep?
That's a shut the lights off, throw your phone out the window, and don't leave the house for about a week.
Right.
Okay.
Because after that, we didn't know what was next. So we weren't playing for the Big Ten championship or nothing.
Yeah.
And that was one of the hardest couple of weeks of my life because, like, when things are going good at Ohio State, like, things are great. But when things are bad, like.
So do you feel like the heroes of the campus, like when you guys are on a roll and just winning every weekend?
I mean, whenever you get the chance to, like, I mean, you sit down and go to dinner, like, people will be like, hey, like, we'll take pictures and stuff like that. And it's great. Like, things are awesome. People, I mean, fans are great, but there's always, like, for the 95% of the awesome fans that Ohio State has, there's a 5% that just
right. So when you, like, after that game, for example, I mean, do you get people giving you crap about it, like, just in public?
Oh, my gosh, it's a disaster.
Okay.
Like,
so you feel it, like, off the field, too?
Right. Well, not like, so after that game, like, in public, you don't even give people a chance. Like, you don't go anywhere.
Gotcha.
So it seems to me like there are people that take Ohio State football way more personal, way more seriously than any coach or any player can possibly.
Like, you have
in the fan base.
You have no clue. Like, these, like, now granted, there's like 95, 98% of the fans are just like great and like they care and they're good fans and awesome. But then there's that 3% that you hear from that actually like.
Well, before you were there was a young man that, hell, didn't they find him in a dumpster?
Oh God, I don't know. Was there?
This was
a football player?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say like mid.
I don't remember that one.
2010s.
Right. I mean, if you go and ask like,
it was bad.
I don't remember that one.
I never heard about that. But if you go and ask any type of high-profile like Division I athlete of any sport, probably that's like of a high fan base, they'll all tell you the same exact thing. Like when things are good, it's awesome. Like you wouldn't rather be anywhere else. You feel like you're bulletproof. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm sure the guys down in Tuscaloosa, it's the same way for them.
Same as Clemson.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You know what I mean? USC. It's all this. Like it's never going to go anywhere. But
see, I mean. So you guys feel the fans really turning then, or at least it feels like that to you? You think
it just feels? I mean, like it hurts us so much, like to lose a game. Like you put in all that time just to play 12 games.
Yeah, I think a lot of the casual fans forget that it's easy to watch something on TV and fire off a mean tweet or something like that.
Right.
Forget that they're people.
Like
it's not like you guys lost on purpose.
Yeah, it's like like it hurts us. So like they're hurt, and like when you put in 365 days just to play 13 of those days.
Yeah.
You put in all that work and you lose one of them, like that kills us. And, like, for them, they're acting like they're falling off the face of the earth. Somebody just killed their dog or something.
Yeah, remember that, BJ.
Yeah, when you start yelling at the Bengals, just know they're hurting.
I'm way more relaxed. Way more relaxed.
There's got to
No,
be there's zeros on the end of their paychecks. Got to help them a little bit with that hurt, though.
Right. I mean, but like I said, like there's so many great people like that love Ohio State that are awesome. That's what makes Ohio State so special.
Yeah. What is it? What's that stadium hold? Like 110,000 or
Right.
something?
Unbelievable. I mean, always packed, no matter who you're playing.
Yeah, and that's the difference between Saturday and Sunday. I mean, even when Paul Brown Stadium is packed or Paycor or whatever it is, it's not 110,000.
No, right.
The marching band's not out there. It's a different environment.
It's such a culture. Like it's truly like you walk in that place, you're like, you can just feel like you feel energy.
Yeah. So let's go back to like when you first started getting recruited by Ohio State. I mean, I'm guessing you were a standout high school football player, obviously. So what size school were you at? Were you at a D1 or a D2?
So I went to Lexington. This was a D2 school in up by Mansfield.
Okay.
Which is about an hour north of Columbus. And yeah, I mean, I was all like, Dad kind of figured. My dad played college football at Bowling Green.
Oh, okay.
He played tight end up there. So my mom ran track up at Bowling Green. So like when I was young, like I'd grown in myself.
Good gene pool of
Right.
athletic.
I mean, you can tell. Like he could kind of tell. I think that you have a chance to be okay.
Yep.
So basically, he like from like 6th to 8th grade when I was like, like you could be good at this. You know what I mean?
Starting to mature and grow
Right,
and
playing
grow in
good,
your body.
right.
Yep.
And I started on the varsity football team my freshman year, and I had a good season. I had like over 100 tackles there as a
I'm
freshman.
guessing at a D2 school, that's pretty difficult to do.
Right.
So we go to a D5 school. So
D6.
We're D6 now. Yeah. Okay. So they play both sides of the ball, and everybody that
So did we. I mean, so did I. We weren't that big, trust me. And basically, just kind of, Dad always said, like, if you're good enough, like, people will. I mean, they're going to find you.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to camps. I didn't go to all these rival. I didn't go to the 5-star camps, and I just always basically focused on, if you're the best player on the team, doesn't matter where you're playing at, people are going to watch that. Watch how you act, watch how you handle yourself, and everything like that. So I just always try to look at it like you become the best player on your team, and people are going to find you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did, and then coaches called.
What position were you playing? Now, I think you said off camera that you weren't always a tight end.
Never. I actually never, ever took a snap at tight end until I got to college.
Okay.
Ever. I played free safety, and I played quarterback my junior year, and then I played running back my senior year.
Are most free safeties 6'5"?
Never. None of them.
That was kind of surprising.
That was an anomaly, that one. But it was fun. It was awesome. I had an opportunity to really play with a lot of good people there, and they put me in really good positions to make plays in high school. And that kind of, allowed me to make a lot of tackles and put your name out there for good stats and stuff like that.
Any high school teammates move on to the next level?
We didn't have any Division I. We have one now. He transferred from Jackson State. He plays OU left tackle.
Okay.
But other than that, we just had a bunch of really good kids that played hard and just loved the game. So,
Gotcha. So, I'm a casual football fan, and from the outside looking in, it seems like the only person that people really, at least in a high school game, that everyone knows is the quarterback, and if they got a good running back.
Right.
So, how did you make yourself stand out without playing? You say you played quarterback one season.
Right.
How did you make yourself stand out playing those other positions?
So, fans, I agree with you, realize that. But people like colleges and stuff, they look for basically.
They're looking at the stat line.
Not even that.
Okay.
The frame, how you move, and basically, do you have a nose for the football? Do you understand? Do you have good instincts, right? So, when you play 8 yards free safety, a run for a free safety was what I played, and you're coming down, whacking people are like.
Because you had the IQ to know what was about to happen. Right.
Right. I was a good instinctual player.
Good. I guess film work tells a college coach a lot more than the stat sheet.
Right. You turn on the film and you see a big, tall, lengthy kid that runs well.
Yep.
That comes down and brings the hammer a little bit. Oh damn.
There's a spot for that in the lineup.
They want raw. They want raw talent that
It's
they can
just
make and whatever they
baseball.
want.
If you can hit, you're gonna play. Right.
Right. Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
Well, baseball is my sport, and when I got to high school, I'd pretty much given up any hope of being a high school baseball pitcher because I couldn't throw the ball worth a crap. As soon as my coach seen that I was tall and left-handed, he's like, "Yeah, you're going to be a pitcher because you're tall and left-handed." So, what would you give? advice-wise to like a high school kid that has, dreams of playing in D1? I mean, what do they need to work on? I mean, they can't make themselves taller.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess some of that is just God-given.
Right. Right.
But
If I could go back, I always look at if I could go back and tell myself like something would be, one, enjoy where you're at, because as cool as playing on Saturdays are, it doesn't compare to playing on Friday nights with the kids you've rode the bus with since you're in kindergarten.
that's probably going to be a little bit different than what a lot of people were expecting to hear from you.
Right, and that's the truth. And if you can ask a lot of people, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's just there's something so, especially going like to a public school like I did, like it's something really, really special about that. But as far as like production-wise in the field, I would tell the kids, like, one, become the best football player on your team, whatever your job is. If you're a punter, be the best punter. If you're the dude that carries the ball and makes all the tackles, be standout-ish and play with emotion, and make sure, don't worry about what people think about you, right? Because if you're good enough and you want to have dreams to do it, I mean, you can do it, especially if kids that are given the talent to do it, like, the only thing that's holding you back is you. So, I mean, and another thing that I would tell them is a lot of kids get caught up like with social media and the parties and stuff like that in high school. Like, I didn't have my first beer until a week after my 21st birthday.
Oh, wow.
That's some pretty hardcore dedication,
Right.
especially being a farm kid.
Right. But like that was also like, I mean, that was because my pops always was like, I mean, if you want to do something that's not like common, like you have to
Be uncommon.
basically do stuff that's uncommon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. It was probably a little bit, like I say, it was a little bit different than I was expecting you to say.
Right.
I figured you were going to say hit the weights and watch film.
Yeah,
No,
I
like
can
it's
see what
very-
you're saying, though. I mean, the kids that you played high school ball with, I mean, I'm sure you guys played from like third grade or whenever tackle started.
Forever. I
Yeah.
mean, like you go through, like you see them, and at that point you don't know, like there's no Twitter, there's no people tweeting
Right.
at you. There's none of that. Like
That
you're
was your
just,
entire social circle right
you're,
there.
You're out there and you're playing just because you love playing the game, and
A
you
lot more
love.
pure, you think, at that point?
Oh my! It's unbelievable. There's nothing like it when you have when the whole town is packed in your little thousand
Yep.
people in the stands. Like, it's awesome. And
So-
you hear the band play. It's awesome.
After your last high school game, I'm sure it was like my son's last high school game. All the seniors come off crying. Everybody was hugging.
Right.
Parents were hugging. It was very emotional for everybody.
Right.
Because those kids worked their ass off for 10 years together.
Right.
I'm sure it's
Got,
same
got our
experience.
school
Right.
their first playoff win.
Right. It's. I mean, it is so. I can still see it. I can see where I'm sitting. I can tell you, it was in Sandusky. We played Sandusky at Willard, and I'm sitting there, and we got waxed. I mean, it was a terrible. It was a rainy night, and we just got the doors beat out of us. But they were a better team. They played better that night, and like to see the kids that I mean, a lot of those kids will never take another snap of football. Like, never play football in their life again.
Yep.
Right. Like, for me, I knew there was something else, but like it hurt me so much knowing that, like, that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it for me. Like, in that uniform, like, that's what made you. You know what I mean? That uniform and the people around you, like, that's the people that made you. And to see that happen like that, I mean, it happens to everybody, unless you win a state title, which was everybody's goal. I mean, you have such good people around you, and to see that happen, it's just sad.
No team ever break 2 days and said, we're not going to win state this year. Everybody says we're going for state.
Except
You're right.
for our team. Didn't you say the goal this year was to win one game?
Yeah, so I don't know if we should even put this on the air because my son still goes to school there. So. New coach, and he lost every game 2 years ago. And this year, the pep rally before the season, meet the team night, we're going to win a game this year. I was like, that's it. That's and he's actually best friends with Brian's buddy from Sunrise, and he's a nice guy, but damn, that's it. That's what you
Need to
got.
work on his messaging on that one, maybe.
Well, if you set the standard low enough, you can't be disappointed.
They won. They got their
They
win.
did win.
There you go.
They
See,
did
now they achieved what they said they're going
I
to
mean,
do.
I've never heard a coach say anything like that in public to like parents and faculty and administration.
Yeah, me neither.
Yep. So after high school football, I'm guessing you were a multi-sport athlete, just
Right.
to guess.
Yeah, I was I love, like, probably my favorite sport, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
Love playing basketball. We had an awesome basketball team. Went to state Final Four in basketball.
Okay. What was your position?
You name it.
Gotcha.
I played more than 3 or 4, but just kind of depended who's guarding me, kind of thing. And there was a time, like, I always people still say I'm good. Well, I was probably a better basketball player than I was a football player, right? And we've had a lot. Lexington was always known to have a good hoop team, right? So we just played. My dad coaches growing up playing hoops, and we played our same starting five, was the same starting five all the way through high school.
Oh, okay.
And we knew we moved the ball great. It was such a blast. And for me, I knew that one, I wasn't going to play college basketball. I was a better I had a better opportunity to play football.
Right.
So
Does that just go back to the God-given body frame?
right, you know what I mean? I didn't handle the ball good enough. I handled it good in high school.
Move more like a football player.
Right, you know what I mean? It was fine. Anyway, I set the all-time score record for my high school and rebound record and all that stuff. Right, so we had a very successful basketball career.
How many points?
1,900 points.
Oh shit,
That's a lot.
that's a lot. That's
Right.
That's pretty impressive.
getting it done.
Right. So, So we had a great, but that was also a credit to people I had around, awesome people around me. But I always knew I was going to play football. So when I played basketball, there wasn't a care in the world.
You're just having fun.
I'm just having a blast.
Yeah.
You're talking shit to everybody. You're just you're out there with your boys and everybody and all our starting five in basketball went to play different play. We had a guy at Cincinnati to go pitch for baseball. We had a runner, cross country runner, went to Kansas State to go run. Right, and another guy played football at Denison, and then another dude ran track at Walsh. So everybody wasn't going to play basketball in college.
Pretty athletic team, though.
Right, but we just loved. We played awesome ball together.
And a lot of times, that's the best kind of basketball to watch.
Unbelievable.
Kids with chemistry that know where everybody's at and what they're
Right.
doing.
They're not relying just on athletic ability.
Right.
They're relying on
Right.
teamwork.
Right.
To
They
me.
trust each other.
We would beat teams that were way more talented than us, but we they'd try to impress us and basically tell us hey, we're more athletic and you guys can handle the ball, and the ball wouldn't touch the floor, and we just zip and just shoot layups all day long. And we had an awesome coach though too, so a lot of credit to him.
Yeah. So after basketball, were you training for football, or were you running track or baseball?
Right. So I never after my senior year of basketball, we got upset in the second round. So the year before, we went to the state Final Four.
Oh man,
Okay,
that's a rough one to come back.
We brought back our whole starting five, everybody. So we were predicted hey, these guys have a chance to win the state, right? And we got upset in the second round. Another tough day in life, but anyway, yeah, we got beat. So then after that, basically, you took a couple weeks off to try and attempt to collect yourself, and then you're training for football, right? And
So had you committed to Ohio State at that point?
I committed before my junior football season.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I committed early because I wanted the recruiting process can be kind of hectic. So
you knew exactly what you had. Did you have any contingency plan?
What does that
If
mean?
they pulled their offer or whatever?
nah, I mean they weren't going to do that.
Okay.
Right.
You hear about schools doing
Right.
that.
And if they did, there was
You had other options.
right. There was other schools that would take you.
But
so.
pre that, did you do the track, or were you a 3-sport athlete in high school before that?
No. So I asked the track coach, hey, I just want to practice. I don't want to come to meets. I just want to practice with you.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Were you training for football in the off
Right.
season?
And I was, right. So I would train me another guy that basically was my center in high school. He would just help me. I'd send him 50 yards in front of me on the track. This is before I started to run track, and tell him to take off. And basically, I'd just see how fast I can catch him. And he's a little short, chubby guy. He was.
I'm sure he loved it.
He's probably laughing. If he watched, he'd be laughing his ass off. I told you guys that. But I told the track coach, hey, I just want to run. I just want to practice. I don't want to have any interest in going to meet. So he said, that's fine. You can practice with us. So I'm practicing with him, and I ran well. And then he suckered me into running the meet. Ran a meet. And then I ended up running track and letter in that year. So technically, yes, 3-sport for 1 year.
Okay, gotcha.
Still counts.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious, at that point, when you were in high school, how much of your off football season was revolving around football season, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. So once you guys get put out of the basketball tournament, at that point, how quick does life start shifting to Ohio State? I mean,
Right away.
So even while you're still in high school?
Right away, they send you. Like I was sending, because a lot of kids graduate early, which basically they graduate in January and then enroll in Ohio State in January.
So they can get there and they go to spring practice.
Right, and they have a spring under them.
So
right.
did you do that then?
No, I want to play I played basketball.
Okay, I didn't know that was. See, I don't know too many D1 athletes.
I don't know if that's a fairly recent thing.
It
I don't
is.
remember when I was a kid. I don't remember people doing it.
Last couple years, and it's became very.
So basically, they can get a half a year of practice without being starting their eligibility.
Right. Yeah. And I'm glad, and I'm so happy I did not do that, because that time, having senior night with the basketball guys, breaking the scoring record.
Well, would you have been 17, 18?
Right, you're 17 years old.
You're still a kid, right? Kid.
But there's some kids that come in the high state that are just
they're ready for it.
100% freakish athletes, like completely ready and really good decision that they did.
Right.
For me, I kind of looked at it at that point. If I'm good enough to play in January, I'll be good enough to play in June when I get there. Right. I wasn't good enough to play in June. when I first got there, I walk into the linebacker room and it's just first round pick, third round pick, and
so who were the guys there when you got there? Who were you behind? The
linebackers? So Pete Warner,
okay,
who just is the leading tackle for the Saints now.
Okay.
Malik Harrison.
You guys keep talking. Yeah.
For the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. He's from where is he from? Somewhere in Columbus. Justin Hilliard, Kayvon Pope.
Okay.
Who else was there? Well, who am I missing? Tough Borland.
Yeah.
Baron Browning. Okay. Right. All these dudes.
So it wasn't like Joe Blow down the road.
No. This was a very, very talented room.
So the best football name ever. He came in the same year you did. Steele.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's Steele Chambers. I mean, is that not a football?
It's not even his real name. You know that, right?
No shit.
His real name is Donovan Steele Chambers.
I would have went with Steele too.
I'm crushed.
Yeah, I live with that's him and Tommy Eichenberg are my two. I've lived with them all 4 years.
Was he a running back at one time?
He was. He changed spots just like I did.
So when you walked into that linebacker room for the first time, like how big of a shock was it? Like, I mean,
so nervous. I can't even begin to put into words. Like, so when you first get there as a freshman, they take the freshmen that just came in, which is 8 of us, right? And we're working out by ourselves. It's cool. Like,
everybody's on the same playing field.
Right. Everybody's cool. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. Okay. And you're working out, and then 2 weeks later, they integrate you with dudes that have already been there, right? So you're like, oh shit, like this is real now.
How many plates they putting on there?
This is real now. You know what I mean? So they did that, and then the first day of camp, like when you first put pads on in college, like in high school, you're the hammer, like you're the.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you remember the first hit?
Oh yeah, I can still tell you. It was inside drill against Luke Farrell, who's the tight end for Jacksonville Jaguars now. Okay, I'm playing linebacker at this point, so I'm man to man on this guy. And inside drill is you can only run the ball. There's no receivers. Okay, so everybody knows you're running it, and it's basically you're going to tee off on me, I'm going to tee off on you, we're going to see who wins. Right?
How'd this go for you?
I actually held my own. I was fine. Right? So I had that first hit, and I was like, dude, I'm cool. I can do this, right? Okay. So we go to another drill. We call it the arc drill, right? So there's one tight end, one linebacker. Okay. And you're basically blocking a stretch to the left, right? So everybody knows you block. So you roll that way, and he rolls that way. Okay. And you just basically
collide in the middle,
smoke each other, right? So I get up against his name Rashad Berry. He's the defensive end for the Colts now.
Yeah, I remember him.
Okay. And this dude is like, he was never, like, he'd bounce around positions, but I never really found the home. But so freakishly strong and athletic, it was unbelievable.
So they didn't start you out with, like, the other freshmen?
No, hell
no. You're putting you right into the meat grinder.
No, yeah, right. But it kind of, like, you jump in line. Like, so whoever you're in line with, that's who you're going with. And it happened to be, that's who I'm in line with. Okay, like, Luke Farrell was a starting tight end, so I just handle my own against you in inside drill. I'm being fine here. So I go and I try and fit him. And I was kind of crossed over, and I just go, I mean, I can see it. I can still see it sitting on the ground like, damn.
Welcome to college football.
Damn. You know what I mean? But anyway, so you end up, so that year was just kind of feeling things out. It's new. Some kids are great and built for it. But a lot of times, like, the positions that do play, like, as a freshman are receivers, running backs. Like, that's the ones where you're really going to see freshmen play. Other than that, the other positions need a lot of time to develop.
To grow into the position,
right.
Basically. That's what I was going to ask you. How much, like, from that physical standpoint, like, how much work do they have to? I mean, I'm guessing you had to put on a lot of muscle mass to to go from high school to college?
I came in there at 225, right? I weigh 260 now.
Okay.
So like, it's just, and that's why like they're going to make you whatever they want to make you, right?
So when you walk in there, do they like kind of assess you and then basically assign you someone that's going to be your fitness coach, or how does this work?
So when you get there, they run you in this dynamic warm-up, which is, it's supposed to just be a warm-up, right? They kill you.
Just a smoke show.
They kill you, okay? And then they make you go test everything, right? So you're testing your 40, you're testing your 5-10-5, you're testing your vertical, broad jump, everything.
While you're exhausted.
While you're gassed. So you put up terrible numbers, right? Excuse me. And so after that, so then you get in better shape the next year, right? Okay, and then, well, before that, like after you get on test and all that, they basically tell you set your goal weight, right? So my goal is 230. I got to be 230 by the end of the winter. So I get 3 months to do it, right? Easy. And then you have nutritionists up there that'll basically make your plate for you. You'll be like, here, this is what you got to eat. This is that. This is what you got to eat, right? And as far as strength-wise, like there's 4 strength coaches in there. And you're lifting with, a lot of times you stick with one throughout the winter. And
so you don't have like an individual one per player.
No,
four of them divided amongst the 100 and however many on the roster.
But you lift in, like there's 3 lifting groups, right?
Okay, so it's fairly
smaller, like 20 kids, right? So you're lifting with 6 other dudes per coach probably.
Okay.
And so yeah, and basically you just grow and you basically watch dudes that are like the dudes at that point when you're young. You're like, you try and look like them, work like them, and now that you're at the older guy, you're that guy that people watch. You know what I mean? So you see it's everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
So when you came in as a freshman, the upperclassmen, like, were they cool? Or were they
a lot of hazing?
No. It actually was very. I didn't say much, so I was very.
keep your head down and go to work.
Right. So I kind of looked at it like I worked hard. I mean, coming from a farm, like you guys know, like it's very, especially like a cattle farm, like you're very.
Yeah.
You're grounded. Like
if we still had cattle, we wouldn't have so much of this. It's
right.
a proven fact.
So yeah, I tried to look at like just keep your mouth shut. Like if somebody talks to you, like you talk back. Other than that, like stick with your boys in your class. Like I was talk the hell out of them. You know what I mean? But like the older guys, like stay. Like
I heard some adage once that if you sound a lot smarter when you say nothing or something like that.
100%. Right. So you can't make anybody mad if you're not talking. Like you just because sometimes you're trying to impress guys like just to talk, and I didn't want to do that. So I just kept my mouth shut. And if you work hard, everybody like they'll respect you. So it actually worked out really, really well, and they were all super cool with me, and I was lucky.
Yeah. So when you say you've got like a person, like your nutrition person, like they make your meals every day then?
They will.
Or do they tell you what to make?
Basically, like, so you work out downstairs and you walk upstairs, okay, and it's just a buffet of something different every day, right? So if Bravo caters in one day, if PF Chang's caters in one day, if there's a kitchen at Ohio State, and then there's a full, you walk upstairs, buffet, open grill, right? So they're making burgers, they're making chicken wings, they're making all kind of stuff, salad bar, all kind of stuff, okay? So everything you can think of is up there, right? And if you're a guy that has to lose weight, like you better not be eating the damn chicken wings and cheeseburgers, right? you better stick to the salad bar, you know what I mean? So she'll make sure, there's 2 girls up there, Kayla and Caroline, who are awesome. They'll make sure that everybody's like
guiding you what to eat.
Like, hey, like don't put this on your plate, or like
Gotcha.
Basically educating you on what's good and what's good not to eat.
So how was that learning curve? I mean, it sounds like you're a pretty dedicated high school athlete, but I mean, when you're 18 years old and in high school, it seems like, especially if you're doing a lot of sports, you can eat and drink just about whatever you want.
Right, 100%. But I was
probably not optimized.
Right, but I was lucky enough. Like I can't remember one night that Mom didn't cook us meal. Like every single night, we sat down at dinner, and Mom, didn't matter who had to practice late, well, everybody's waiting, and then you're eating dinner together. And it's a homemade meal. It's not like
That's a big thing. I think even if it's not like the best homemade meal, I feel like anything you cook at the house is going to be better than anything you buy.
100%. Right. So I came from, and I was kind of used to eating. It was all. I mean, it was a hard. I mean, you live in the country, like it's a hearty meal. Like we raise beef. Like there's going to be meat on the table, right?
You mean you're not a vegan?
Right. There's going to be meat on the table, or it's going to be pasta. One of the two. You know what I mean? So it was always a hearty meal, It was always a homemade meal. So I always had I was always had a good diet without even by trying it, because she always made us had a good diet. So coming there was a little different, but there was more access to bad stuff there, right?
Even in the field house or
Oh,
like the
hell
team
yeah.
place?
'Cause
I guess
I
you
mean-
said they had chicken wings and hamburgers.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So but all these receivers, like the little skinny dudes with like 4% body fat,
They need to eat something like that.
well, they can eat whatever they want.
Yeah.
And they're not like they're gonna look the same. They'll still have the 8-pack and abs and everything else. You know what I mean? And you think you can do that for a second, and then you learn like a couple weeks, like, God, I don't feel as good as when I was home. And you're like, damn, I better watch what I put in my body.
Okay, so it doesn't take very long to realize this is fuel and not just food.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured that out of you.
Right. No.
Okay, so how soon into this, like this is all like happening pretty quick then? Like all this stuff becomes available as soon as you get there pretty well?
Right. First day.
Okay. How soon was it before you changed positions?
So I played my whole first year at linebacker and defensive end. And then after my first year, Coach Day came to me and he was like, hey, I think you can be a good tight end with your basketball background. And I was like, God, I've never played tight end in my life. What the hell is this guy
So
talking
what,
about?
from a basketball standpoint, would translate to being a tight end?
Good ball skills, moves well. Like a lot of tight ends are dudes that have switched positions and were good basketball players.
Okay.
So some of the best tight ends in NFL history, receiving tight ends,
Right.
basketball players.
Travis Kelce was a high
Antonio
school.
Gates, did he even?
No, he didn't. He
Did he
played
play in college? Did
No, he didn't. Never played. He was a basketball player.
College basketball player.
And he became a football player.
He was one of the best tight ends in the NFL.
Right.
He got drafted
This
into the
was,
NFL without
yeah,
playing
late
college.
90s. Well, about the same time Hartside played, probably.
Right.
So
Late
wasn't
90s,
wasn't
early
Ben a good
2000s.
basketball player?
Yeah, yeah.
But I thought he was more of a blocking tight end.
He was more of an inline blocking tight
Right.
end.
And there's different kinds of tight
And
ends. You know what
I mean, forgive me, you inline, slide,
I'm
move
50-50.
around?
I can block fine and right. So 50-50.
Okay.
I try to like.
Let's say I've seen you catch a few touchdowns in the past year. So.
Well, I mean, he got put out in the playoffs this past year catching
Right. You know,
the ball.
rough deal. But no, I try.
Way to be a mood killer.
No, it's all
DJ.
right. It's all right. No big deal.
It happens. It's football, right? You just pick it up, and move on, right?
That's
So,
right.
so you played the whole year though at
Tight end.
So did you get any reps on the field or were you,
When I first moved over?
Yeah.
Hell no.
no,
COVID.
no, I mean your first year as a linebacker, did you get any
I played 4 games.
4 games?
Right. Then redshirted. You play 4 games in redshirt.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So when
was
you
that like the blowouts early in the year, like Toledo
Right.
Toledo?
Right. Yeah. So you're so we're all sitting there as freshmen, like you're just
waiting for the score to get up so you
like,
get in?
Right. But you're also like, oh shit, like, am I ready to go into this game yet?
see, that was most of my high school basketball career. Man, can we blow this team out? I need to get in.
So even a team
I
like
got a letter to get.
even a team like Toledo though that like I mean it's pretty obvious they're going to I would be very shocked if they beat Ohio State usually.
Right. Yeah.
So even a team like that, I mean, how good are their like? I think that's one thing people take for granted. Even a bad team, like their starting football team, is probably better than anything you faced before, right?
Very, very good. Right. Those kids all in their every Division I football player in their high school, they're like
A stud.
You're watching a team, you're like, dude, that kid's really, really good.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just, and then you're the big fish in a small pond, and you take that big fish and throw it in a bigger pond, and you're not so much, but you grow to become that.
So that first game, what was that? Was that at a home game or
It was a home game against Cincinnati.
So was that your first experience on the big field?
First time ever playing, right? First play running around me, I made the tackle. I was like, hell yeah.
Let's go.
Feel
Let's
awesome.
go.
Next play, I don't get the right signal. I run the wrong defense, and then you're like, damn.
back to the sidelines.
Yeah, it hurts. I stayed on, but in the film next day,
Really dreading that part of the film, weren't you?
yeah. But no, I moved over after that freshman year, tight end.
Did you hit your weight goal?
I did hit my weight goal, right? Then my weight goal changed to 255.
So you were 230 at the end of your first year then?
Right.
Okay.
And then 255.
So at 230, were you big enough to like hold your own out there then?
I was always surprisingly, I was always pretty naturally strong.
Okay.
Like, just some people are really weight room strong and not so strong on the field.
Right.
Some people are both, and then some people are just naturally just strong.
Well, you've been wrestling cattle, slinging hay bales.
Right, both. I mean, like you grew like my grip is, if the top 2, if not the best on the team, right? And that is, I mean,
What is it?
We feel. What do you mean? What is it?
Like you use like
Oh, I don't know, but like we hold dumbbells. So
Okay.
like you hold 180-pound dumbbells as long as you can.
180-pound dumbbell.
Right. as long
I'm
as you
gonna
can.
give you a hint of how long I can hold that.
I think I'd tear my triceps just picking it up.
Right. So you're holding those, but I mean, we used to feed cows with 5-gallon buckets, and I can remember like distinctly, like if Dad carrying 2 5-gallon buckets, and my dad's a big fella, okay, and I would carry one when I was long. He's carrying 2, and like we'd always screw around, like he'd be curling them going down, like I'd have one, and I'm lugging this thing along. You know what I mean?
So do you ever remember feeding cattle or anything?
Yeah, I mean, even
When
we got
I
rid
was a little kid, like the goal was not to let Dad see you like dragging.
Right, or like
because he would be
hands.
in front of you, and he'd be carrying a bucket of water or whatever, and he'd be behind you like.
Right.
And that was you didn't want to drag.
Right. Yeah. No, and I can like it distinctly I can see it like walking up towards the basketball court. He has 2 of them. And he's like he always say, okay, let's curl them now. You know what I mean? And so as I get older, like then I can have 2, and you get going. You know what I mean? And then he always had it.
We didn't do the curling.
He had a sledgehammer. Okay, maybe a 15, 20-pound sledgehammer. Okay, a big sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And he would grab it by you've probably seen somebody do this. Grab it by the very end. Okay.
and pick
All the way at the very end. Hold out like this.
all right towards his head, huh?
Oh man.
Touch his nose, and bring it back up. And I used to sit there as a kid like, God darn, how the hell does he do that shit?
How many times you break your nose?
This dude's strong as shit. Right? So I'd always take a little like carpenter's hammer and do it like when you're little. You know what I mean?
That's a good tactic by the old man. Don't mess with me.
Right.
This is what I got.
Look what I can do.
So another thing, like full circle wise, so like anyway, I'm able to do it, right? So I'm good. I'm big enough to do it now, right? So we go to High State, right? And they have sledgehammers. Basically, we hit tires with,
Right,
okay?
yeah.
And they're like little 10-pound sledgehammers, okay? But there's one 25-pound sledgehammer over there, okay? And we do grip at the end of all the workouts. And I grabbed it the one day and did it, right? Everybody's like, oh God, like I can do that. I mean, there's not one other person that could do it.
Did anybody break their nose?
They're ducking that thing, you know what I mean? It's coming down at you.
It's like the ultimate skull crusher.
Right.
Okay, so even at 230, though, I mean, not a problem on the field. Why did they keep bumping your weight up just to?
So, I mean, there were some problems. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I mean, I'd held myself for most of it, right?
But to optimize that position,
right?
there
are jobs I couldn't do as well because I was too small. Right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I'm guessing you were probably quicker when you weighed 230 than at 260.
Right. And that's kind of like I mean, to be honest, I feel quicker now at this size, but that's just because the strength program of them, like they do such a good job there with us. But yeah, so you move to 255, and then you start.
That's 25 pounds of muscle in 12 months, 8 months.
It ain't all muscle, trust me.
Okay.
At that point, like you're trying to put it on, you know what I mean?
Okay. So how much was that? A lot more difficult, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't easy at all. But once you get there, you can usually hold it, and then start to trim out what you don't want of it.
Okay.
You know
So
what I mean?
get the weight, and then you're trying to transform the weight.
Right, and then COVID hits, right?
Oh, man.
Ooh, yeah.
So
Monkey wrench.
So we go home.
Yeah.
I've still never ever taken a snap of Titan in my whole entire life.
So you got
when COVID hit, you
Yes,
were not
ever,
okay.
not one snap.
so the COVID year is when you were making that switch.
Right.
So March 2020.
I'm home. I'm a tight end in Ohio State, and I've never ever played tight end in Ohio State.
And you don't even know if you're going to play that fall.
No, I'm like, one, there's Luke Farrell, Jeremy Ruckert, Jake Houseman, all in front of me still.
When that happened, like how confident was everyone at the football organization that there was going to be a season?
Our season was canceled at one point.
I know it was.
Didn't Justin Fields,
Right,
him and his parents had a big hand in
he pounded the table for us.
Yeah.
And made us have a season, right? So
They
I'm
were at
working
the league office in Chicago or whatever.
right to Kevin Warren's office and was like, hey, we want to play.
So how long were you guys, like basically not working out, not doing like normal?
Till June.
So 3 months of
3 months of being home.
how?
So you're kind of like doing things on your own.
Right. I was working out. But you couldn't get in. You couldn't get any weight rooms.
Right.
So luckily we have a weight room in the shop. Right. Just like us, like in the shop we work.
I would have guessed that based off what you told me.
Right. We have a weight room at the shop. Right. So we lift weights in there, and
when June rolls back around, could you tell the guys that didn't?
oh right. I mean, there's some people that like, but a lot of guys like a lot of like-minded guys there. Right. So a lot. Of
Everybody's
people-
pretty serious at that
Right.
level.
Yeah. So I mean, there are some people that came back looking way better, and people look the same, and people that don't look. I mean, just life, the way it goes.
Probably guys just got bored and like the only thing I can do is work out. You know?
Right. I mean, and then like basically everybody's back in hometown. Like dudes haven't been back home for 4 or 5 years.
Get a party with their buddies.
All their high school boys are back. You know what I mean? So dudes are, and that was cool. I mean, it was like basically another 3-month hiatus just to be home. You know what I mean? Which was cool.
So was it harder to come back, or was everybody super stoked to come back? I mean, like harder to get out of that. Like you'd been in that routine for a year at that point,
right? But you were ready to see. You were ready to see.
Was there anybody that once they were home for 3 months just like never came back?
No,
you know what I mean? I mean that's when I went to college. Dad was like, "Don't come back," and I came back every weekend. I dropped out like a year.
You're right. Yeah. No, everybody came back.
Okay.
But it was just so different. Like it's such a disaster.
How did that affect that freshman class? That'd be this year's senior class, wouldn't it? Or junior class?
Junior class. Yeah. And
because they missed that whole. Well, I guess they just would have missed that spring.
Right.
There's still a lot of development time.
Right. Oh yeah. It was just kind of a disaster.
Okay.
Like, it was just nobody knew what the hell was going on. Nobody knew if you were going to practice next day. Like if 8 people, you test every day you come in there, right? So
were you getting?
Yeah, it's terrible.
I thought I seen a twitch whenever you were talking earlier. It must be from the brain tickles.
Right. It was a disaster, right? So if you test, if eight or more people test positive that day, like you're not practicing. Your guys going home.
The whole team's canceled then.
Right. And there's a joke like, so I hope you like go test positive right now because I'm hurting today. Like, you know what I mean? Like just like yeah. But
did you guys lose any games
that year?
Anybody get test positive and have to cancel a game or anything?
So we're in a hotel in Illinois, about to play Illinois. We're in Ohio still. 'Cause we couldn't travel the night before because there's no hotels in Illinois that were going to let us stay there. Right.
People's Republic.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
People's Republic, Illinois.
So
yeah, they were pretty strict.
Yeah.
So Illinois call. So we get a text that night on our phone saying, "Hey, like, there's buses out front of the Blackwell, which where we're staying. The game's canceled. But you guys go home."
Oh wow.
Right. So we lost.
Like you're planning on getting on a bus next morning and you want to play ball.
Right. We're planning on getting the plane next morning. Like we're ready. We're
So
flying
did
out.
Illinois have to cancel then, or did
Right. They canceled. They tested positive.
Okay.
But-
But I don't really remember that year. How did that affect the championship?
We made it to the national championship that year. Wait. Yeah, that's national championship that year.
Okay, and you were playing tight end at this point?
Yeah, I was. I was just playing special teams. I wasn't actually playing tight end.
Okay.
Right. So I played on all the special teams units because we had 3 tight ends that were very, very good.
Okay.
Right. One plays for the Jets and one plays for the Jaguars.
Okay.
Right, so, and then there's me, who still never played tight end. But I lifted hard. I was always like, we have a Iron Buckeye thing, right? And basically it goes to your hardest, toughest worker you got, right? So I've won that thing 3 years now.
Okay.
And that was before. I mean, I really wasn't doing a whole lot yet, and I won that award.
So for a guy that's three deep in the rotation,
You're
that's
like-
pretty unheard of then?
So you were you were a respected person. You know what I mean? And you knew you had all the gifts and talents to do it. You just got to figure out
It's
how
just a
to
matter of
do it.
time.
Right. So then basically time goes on, and it just kind of clicked one year, and boom.
So how was the national championship?
To be honest, I don't remember hardly any of it.
Me neither. Apparently, I didn't realize they went in 2020.
Yeah, right. We got
Whoops.
we got beat by Alabama.
Oh yeah. I do remember that. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
We got beat by Alabama.
Like I said, I watch bowl season and watch highlights around the draft time. That's about it.
You got to start watching during the season. Come on.
I listen
I'll
to
try
you
to
on the
watch
radio
games.
when I think about it,
Yeah.
but usually we're in a combine.
You're right.
Proud college dropout from Ohio State, never applied for student tickets.
Missed opportunity.
Well, I was farming every weekend.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yep.
I don't blame you at all.
So
But hey, tickets are way cheaper than farming.
that's true. That's true. It was hard to get student tickets if I remember right.
Yeah, sometimes.
But after 2020, is the next year pretty normal, or are the COVID protocols still in
Right.
place in 21?
Beginning of 2020, 2021, whatever it was.
A little bit.
Still not normal, but close.
Are you guys testing every day then?
No, we weren't then, but we'd have times where I'd do pop positive and then or like come in sick and then they have to be tested, and then we would end up like everybody have to test that day.
Did you ever have to miss practice for COVID? Like you had COVID or you test positive?
No, I never had it.
Okay,
Right.
gotcha.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
Hard work and fresh air outdoors.
I've never had COVID.
Dad always said cow manure was the shit.
That's it.
I figure I've pissed on my hands enough times out in the middle of fields and like no sink around. My immunity should be pretty strong.
Right. The more you don't wash your hands, the more
I don't
you
know
build
that he's
your
ever
immunity.
washed his hands.
I mean, why waste the water? But so 21 things are starting to get back to normal at this point. Have you made your way to the starting position, or are you?
No. So right now, we played 2 tight ends. We have 2 tight end packages, right? And me and the dude for the Jets now, Jeremy Ruckert, were the.
So he was still on the team at that
Right.
point.
He was our starting tight end, and then it was me. I played 25, 30 snaps a game.
Okay.
Right. No, it's fine. It's fine. I just didn't love it yet. Like, I didn't love playing tight end yet, right? Because I wasn't that good at it yet.
Still
But
really sold on the change.
yeah, I was like, God, I still feel like I should be playing defense.
So at that point, like, I mean, I guess if I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, I'm thinking of this is my chance. Like, this is my future here.
Right.
And Coach Day is dictating things that I don't agree with. Like, how was
so
that?
So Coach Day, he like when we moved, he's like, hey, like it's up to you. Like, it's your decision. And I talked to Dad, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna try it because the linebacker room's stacked full of people, like loaded with full of people. So the quickest way to playing field was that, right? So I did it. And then we get to the 21 season, and end of the season, we had like 2 linebackers. Everybody's hurt. Okay. So I said, hey, like, how do you think about playing both ways? And I'm like, hell yeah, bring me back, please. Right? So bring me back. Okay. I come back for the Rose Bowl game. We play Utah.
So you played tight end in 21,
Right.
for a game?
Right.
Okay.
Well, I played
linebacker.
I played tight end the whole season.
Or no, not tight end. I mean linebacker.
right,
I mean,
yeah, right.
linebacker.
Got really loud.
Right. And Rose Bowl game, they're like, hey, we want you to play. I need you to play the stand-up outside backer because Utah runs like 3 tight ends the whole entire game. It's a big run-heavy defense. I'm like, whatever you want me to do, I'm in. Okay. Loved it. Played great. Had like 7 tackles, like 2 tackles for losses. Had a great game. Won the Rose Bowl. Okay. I'm back. I feel like my home's back. Never playing tight end again. Get me the hell out of that. Right. We get a new defensive coordinator that year. They fire a whole defense to staff. So a new defense is coming. And I'm like, great.
This is the guy from Oklahoma State.
Right. I don't have no clue who he is yet. Right.
Yeah.
Jim Knowles. So I meet him, and he's kind of he don't know anybody yet. He's a very unassuming fellow when you first meet him. I'm like, who the hell you think you are? I've been here for freaking ever, working my ass off. Like, you better say what's up. You know what I mean? And so time goes on, and I'm playing middle linebacker, right? I'm waiting for they're supposed to put in a 3-down package with a stand-up defensive end, right? Outside backers, defensive end fits me perfect. Exactly what I want to do, right? They don't put it in yet, okay? This time, the tight end coach and Coach Day are calling me saying, hey, like, we need you back. We have no tight end. Like,
This is going into 22,
Right.
last season.
right.
This Jeremy Ruckert's gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
In the NFL.
Right.
Right. Hey, we need you back at tight end. I'm like, okay, like, whatever. Like, I'm playing defense. Like, leave me alone. And they don't put in this package. So anyway, I talked to my tight end coach. I'm like, listen, like, I'll do this, right? But, like, use me. Like, I can be good. I'm going to work to be good. I'm going to promise you I'm going to be good. Use me.
So you were just worried about having another year of just not being
Right. I wasn't going to play 20 snaps. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to play
Right.
20 snaps. I'm just not going to do it. Like, leave me the game. Like, let me roll. He's like, okay, no problem. Okay. I'm like, okay. I said, call my dad and tell him that right now. Because I don't want to be called a fucking liar if something happens wrong. You know what I mean? Called him. Dad calls me. He goes, are you sure you want to do this? Because he knew how much I had trouble. I said, yeah, I want to do it. Moved back. I spent a whole summer at 5 o'clock at night till about 7:30 on a practice field by myself with Keenan Bailey, who's my tight end coach now, teaching me how to run routes. I've never done it. Have no clue what the hell I'm doing. Right, I was a blocking tight end. Okay, teach me how to run routes. Okay, I get good. I get not good, but I get decent enough to where you can throw me the ball. And then we played and then we go into the season. I think I caught the most passes since Hartstock.
Yeah.
And what was that? 2002.
A couple days ago.
3.
Right. So like that. What? 20 years ago.
Yeah.
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 So and
Wow.
Makes me feel old.
Yeah.
to hear him say
You.
it. Yeah.
right.
Make you feel real old. That's about the time he wasn't very old then.
I'm probably his dad's age.
Right. And that was it. And then Keenan Bailey got the job, and it's really he had such a huge influence on me coming back again because I know that there's so much more to get better at now since you have a little base underneath you, and with him there, he can definitely help me do that.
Yeah. So I'm guessing at this point you're pretty sold on the tight end position.
Oh yeah, I like it now. I enjoy it. I know what I'm doing now because we don't know what like if we just picked up farming like, and you had to do all this.
Nothing's enjoyable when you have no idea.
You'd be
what
pissed
you're
because
doing.
what the hell am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? I have no clue what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like,
So the previous season, you just never got in long enough to really get your
right. I mean,
your wits about you.
Right. I mean, you got in. I mean, 20, 25 snaps. It's good. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing. At least you're on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I never felt like, gosh, I never felt like I'm in the flow of the game.
So those 20 snaps or 25, 30 snaps, is that in this play right back out, or is
4 here,
Yeah.
2 here,
Maybe 2 or 3 in the
five,
first quarter,
5
and
here,
5 in the third.
20 here, like
okay.
10 here. It's just whatever.
Yeah, I can see where that'd be pretty annoying.
Annoying as hell. You're like, oh my god, just let me get in the flow of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's terrible, especially when it's cold out. You get cold.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
standing there. Then you got to go in there, supposed to block somebody. It's been in there for 70 plays already. He's warm as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did you catch your first touchdown, or when did you get your first touchdown?
Wisconsin this year.
Okay. What was that experience?
Unbelievable. Flipped in the end zone, actually. Yeah.
So what?
think I saw that.
I think
Yeah.
I've seen that
Yeah.
highlight. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was more memorable for you as a player? Your first game as a Buckeye, or your first touchdown?
Probably my first start,
Okay.
which was on defense in the Rose Bowl game.
Okay.
My first start ever.
That's a pretty big stage.
Like when they say like, hey, like okay, like first defense, let's roll, and you're like, damn, it's me.
And that was
Freak,
that was a
go.
hell of a game. That Utah game.
Unbelievable.
That was crazy.
Like one of the best college football games ever. Unbelievable. And just in the whole that pass. I mean, I'm not a big California guy. Don't get me wrong, but the whole Pasadena and the whole like when the sun sets out there, it's like that gives you chills.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, really, really cool.
So you don't get to play those guys this year, right? USC,
No,
UCLA.
yeah.
That's a couple years down the road.
Right.
Okay.
I'll be gone by then.
Yeah. Yeah. So, answer or not?
Okay.
You're heading your 5th year, senior year.
Yep.
Financially, things have opened up on the college level.
Right.
Agent.
Yeah, I have an NIL agent. Yeah.
Okay. So he's going to represent you through the process of moving from college to pro.
No, I mean he's very, very close with me. He's a super, super good guy.
Okay.
But I mean he's basically like, I like to smoke meat a lot, and he'll come home, like, and he'll come over to the house like when all the guys are over and basically have dinner with us because he's a cool dude.
When did that open up? I mean, that was, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Whenever they made it to
I
where.
think this will be the 3rd year of it.
So what we're talking about, if you're just listening or don't know what we're talking about, basically before then, a college football player could not profit in any way, correct?
Right.
From playing college football.
Anything, right?
You couldn't even put on a football camp in your hometown and bill it as Cade Stover, Ohio State football player.
Not
right?
at all. Yeah, you'd be
Like
gone.
that-
Somebody couldn't buy you a freaking pencil at school, and like without you doing like illegal, like since you're an athlete.
Yeah. So
Could be like, hey, let me get your lunch.
Right? No, you can't. I'm serious. Like people, like people used to get in trouble for that stuff.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
When that changed, what was like? You would have been. Would that have been the COVID year, or would that have been right before it?
After.
After.
We're a year after.
Okay. What was that like living through that? I mean, you've seen both sides of it for a couple years.
Yeah.
Like when that happened, was there just like the scum of the earth coming out trying to get football players under contracts, or?
It was very new, so like everybody was like, a lot of businesses wanted to do something, I think, but they're like,
Didn't know how.
I don't know what this is like about, and if this is actually like real or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, took a couple businesses took the lead of it, and they saw how they did. Hey, I want to do that too, and then, but yeah, I mean, there's some people that don't have your best interest in mind, but like Ohio State does a really good job of keeping those people out.
So if someone wants to work with you, do they have to go through Ohio State?
No.
So someone could just cold call you or email you or
Right, and say, hey, I got a shot back. I want you to promote for me.
That part sounds like YouTube. I mean, that part's very similar.
Right, it's probably very similar to how you do it.
Yeah.
Right. And basically just, for them to get their product promoted or their business promoted and basically help you out in what you're doing.
So like in my case with the YouTube channel, like I never had any idea like I was going to be in this position, and I never had any idea that like a company would ask me what it would cost to advertise a product or anything like that. How did you navigate those? Like, how do you figure out what your endorsement is worth? Or how do you figure out what this is worth? Or did you have an agent, or did someone reach out to you to be your agent?
Right. So Steele, my roommate, signed with this people, and I'm like, damn, like they do all this stuff for you, like somebody wants to work with you. Like sometimes it gets hard, like when people want to work with you, like you got to answer all these phone calls, you got to do school, you got to do football, like it becomes a lot. So it's nice to have somebody say, hey, just talk to him, and like that you sit down with him before, like this is what I want to do, this is what I'm interested in. Don't veer off this path. Like keep it within my wheelhouse. You know what I mean? So anyway, I meet these people, I signed with them, and they were super cool. So I'm like, okay, it'll work well. And then basically they just kind of were like, these people, like this is their budget of what they want to pay you, or this is their product of what they want to, like what you can use, right? It's like with farming wise, like I'm every bit as happy with a piece of equipment rather than I am with money. You know what I mean? Because who doesn't love fancy equipment?
Right.
So yeah, basically my agent really helped me out with all that stuff and kind of showed me the ropes, all that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird situation when people start asking that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like, so what do you want for it? I'm like, I don't know.
And then so the times I've been in those positions, like I feel weird. Like it's like I don't want to sound like a dick. I don't want to be like thinking that I'm cocky and
Right, but I also don't want to say something where like, oh, that's nowhere near what I thought. I'm like,
oh yeah,
damn.
when you throw out that that number and you immediately get a response.
Of course, I'm on it.
Just file that away for next time.
Yep.
Right. So I tell him, I said, hey, just talk to my agent about it. So like, I don't really, because then I can be like, yeah, it's something I want to do, or like, no, it's just not something I want to do. It's nothing against them. It's just like, I mean, just like you value your time, and like, you're not going to do something that doesn't make sense. If it makes sense for both of you, then good to go.
Oh, yeah. So the first product I ever did any kind of contract with was the first year I was YouTubing, and like I started an email for the YouTube channel, and I was like, oh, this will be cool. The free shit's just going to come rolling in. And some Chinese light company sends me an email. We'll give you this light if you'll endorse it on your YouTube channel. I was like, hallelujah, yes! A $9 light.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you start somewhere. Everybody starts. I mean,
Lesson learned.
Right.
Yep. So as an agent, does that work on a commission basis then, or is that something you have to pay?
So they'll take 10% of whatever deal they get from me.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there's no flat fee. So like,
okay. So they're not getting paid if you're not getting paid.
No, right? Which is really cool. You know what I mean? Because if I'm playing them a flat fee and they're not getting me any deals, like you're kind of pissed off. You know what I mean?
Right.
If they get you a deal, and that's
how was that changed? Like, I guess campus life for the athletes.
Well, a lot of people drive nicer trucks and cars.
Well, when I pulled in, I was thinking. So Cade beat me to the farm because, well, I'm late as usual. And I pulled in, and I'm getting ready to top the hill. And I'm like, hey, it'll probably be like a Corolla or something. Because I was like, that's what everyone drove when I was in college. It was just little beater cars.
Right. Right. But see, that's not – so that right – that's an NIL deal, that truck right there.
Oh, okay.
Right. So Coughlin.
Yep.
You probably heard of them, right? Car dealership, right? So they basically I promote for them and support their business and stuff, and they let me drive that truck.
Gotcha. Cool.
So super, so like works out both ways, and like Christina Coughlin's an awesome person. So that's been a really, really cool deal for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's why I drive that nice truck. Yes.
Well, I can't blame you there.
Yeah.
How so Ohio State football football's probably what Ohio State's most known for, I would imagine.
Right.
Like when I think Ohio State, it's one of the premier football programs in the country, right?
Right.
How does that work for like Ohio State wrestling athletes or like the softball team? Like,
right.
Like the team, the student athletes that like their sport's not bringing the revenue to the campus. Like how, like are they still able to profit? You think?
Yeah, I mean, if deals come to them, like people that are for wrestling fanatics that love wrestling or softball for that, like yeah, they can do. I mean, but like a lot of that's on them. Like Ohio State's not helping you with that. So if you're a marketable, profitable person, right?
I mean, are they getting deals with agents though? I mean, or is that more of a self-endorsing kind of deal?
Kind of both. Some do, like bigger names, but like if you have an area like for us, right? Like John Deere, Case IH, Caterpillar, AgPro, like they can't go contact like TJ Stroud. They could, right? But he doesn't really fit the bill for that, right? They can't go to Chris Olave. Now, granted, Nike, Reebok, and
right.
Adidas will all go and contact CJ Stroud and just because they fit that bill. You know what I mean? We don't fit that bill, right? So having a market like that's very unique to yourself helps a ton. So like the more you're marketable for something and stick to really who you are about it, it'll help you more. That's kind of the way like stuff goes. So if there's a wrestler that's I don't know, chicken farmer, like
He's probably getting more like the Rocky Boots, Kubota side by sides.
I'm with Rocky Boots.
Cool.
I was going to see if you want.
Got a pair.
I was going to see if you wanted to talk to the guys at Ariat, but
Yeah, I'm with Rocky Boots.
yeah, I'm with Ariat.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's the guy that actually does my merch for our YouTube channel. His daughter's a Division I soccer player, and I don't remember some school in Colorado, but he was kind of saying that like it's a smaller school. Is NAIA D1?
Yeah.
I don't know if they have
weird.
It's like a subdivision. Or
I don't know if they
The
even
rules
have
are
NAIA
like
out
the
there.
rules are like D1 though. That's what it's very similar.
Well, I got the feeling from talking to her, maybe it's Colorado State actually. I don't know. Anyways, like he was saying, like she's been able to like put on camps and stuff like that, and that's how I knew that was a big no-no before. I would have never guessed that you couldn't even put on like a football camp in Lexington.
Right. It's
Like,
weird.
It just seems ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm really happy that it is that way because a lot of people have used it for the right way with things. You know what I mean? Like to help kids and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have you seen anybody using it the wrong way? Like, I mean, like a student athlete getting a boatload of cash and all of a sudden driving a Lambo?
No, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, that cash in, maybe some places, but not where we're at. They try and keep it very.
Okay. I think that's what a lot of people had in their mind was going to happen.
Yeah.
Was you're going to have a lot of 18, 19-year-old kids that aren't mature enough yet to handle that kind of.
But like, maybe at some places there is. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that, like at Ohio State, like it's not just a cliche thing. Like there's actually like really good people at this place that aren't like.
And I'm sure it depends a lot on school. You know, there's probably some smaller schools out there that don't provide the resources to their athletes as far as how to handle that kind of thing. You know. Right.
And we recruit good people.
Yeah.
So you really have to worry about that stuff there.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
So what? You're not going to play football the rest of your life. What's the long-term plan?
Long-term plan is hopefully go play in the NFL for as long as I can. Basically live at home, like maybe buy a little tiny place up home somewhere in the off season, right, and rent a place wherever I'm playing that. Hopefully stack some money away and then buy myself there's a farm like 3.5 miles away from my house.
I like it. I like where you're going with this. We'll play football to farm. I like it.
Right. There's a farm 3.5 miles away from my house that sits on probably maybe close to 600 acres. And it used to be a big giant dairy. Okay. It's rented out right now. Just somebody.
Perfect for a feedlot.
Yeah. Right. Perfect for load with cows and farm. Right. So I go and hopefully the guys sell it to me. So Matt Smith, if you ever watch this,
he's interested.
God, I love to buy a farm. Right. I mean, I drive by every time I go home. I drive by it.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's like.
I've got a list of like pieces of ground.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Like, man, if I can ever do it, like
Right.
I want to own this piece and this piece.
Right.
And
But like for you, like you guys, like being like good sized farmers, like when you're like me and Pops, like you're so like I'm always so freaking hungry, like to go and like I drive by that place, I'm like. Yeah, that's why I do it. Like that's why you do what you do. That's why you.
It don't change when you got some acres. I can tell you that.
Really?
No. Oh yeah.
See, I mean, but like I can like the messed up this is. So we have, like I told you, we have a Ford 5000, right? Okay, got a rake, got a single basket rotary rake. Okay, nice rake. Okay, I love raking hay. So it's like, when is it? We made a couple of years when I was in high school. We made hay later one year, right? So we took it all. I don't know why we did. But anyway, these guys are cutting beans, right? These big giant farmers.
So it was late hay.
Right. Okay. It might have been in September, or maybe late September, early October, right? So the early beans taking off, right?
Right.
And so right beside our farm is these people own like 4,000 acres. They rent it all out. Okay. I've tried to get them rented to. They don't want to rent it to me. So these people have come from like 45 minutes away and farm. Big, giant, like big outfit, like 20,000 acre outfit. Okay.
Yeah.
So here I come on my 45,000 cruising by with the rake. And I turn down the road, and here comes this freaking the combine first, 2 carts, another combine, and then like 3 semis on the same road. I mean, the road like this out here, like a little tiny road. And I'm
17 foot wide.
I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
And I pull over in the ditch, and I'm just letting them go by. And I'm the size of their back tire on this tractor. And I have never, still to this day, I told myself, no matter how big of equipment you get one day, I will never, ever make somebody feel like that ever again. Not like it was their fault, because they were just coming, like, they were just farming right there, you know what I mean? But, like, for me, I'm like this is like, it's just such a business. Like, there's nothing like, I just want to farm for me and Dad, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go get crazy and farm like 5,000 acres. I want to farm like 900,000 acres just where me and Dad can do it, right? And enjoy doing it. And that place that I've driven by that place, and every time, like, I'll go home right after this and go work, and then Sunday before I drive back here, I'll drive by that place. And I'm like that's why I do a lot of what I do. And like when I'm sitting in class half the time, I'm like, well, I mean, where am I going to put this? Where am I going to put this on that place? I'm like, it's constantly there, like always in the back of my mind. You guys probably, like, a lot of people don't understand that, like, but you guys probably do. And it's just such a, like,
we're about to get into this time of year where we get a lot of windshield time.
Yeah.
And just by ourselves out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And you get a lot of time to think about stuff like that.
Right. And just your mind, you're like, God, like, and like my girlfriend, she's from Aurora, up by Cleveland, right? Okay. City is all get out, right? Like before she met me.
She on board, or?
Right. So I'm getting there.
Okay.
So city is like city, right? So I meet her down there in Columbus. Okay. We were sitting down at the restaurant. She's our server. Right? And she's, of course, attractive lady. So I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, they're talking. Basically, we started dating. Okay. I told her first night, like, listen, like, one, like, I gotta play ball. Like, that's all there is to it. Like, you can't get in the way of that because I gotta play ball.
Right.
Okay. And then 2, I'm gonna farm. Like, so if you don't want to do any of those 2, like, you're nice and you're gorgeous, but
here's your chance to leave.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
The open.
I'll catch you on the flip side. So long story short, I bring her home, bring her to the place, and she doesn't really see me. She doesn't understand a lot of it. This was like a year ago. And anyway, so I go home every weekend, right? So I keep bringing her with me, and then now she is like, she said the other day, like, she said, like, one, I wouldn't ever let you break up with me, joking to me, you know what I mean? And then she said, 2, if you ever did, she goes, I'd still want to farm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that I mean, that just kind of, you guys probably know, like, a lot of people just don't really understand, like, what it's really like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, when people talk about living in the city and, like, it's boring out in the country, I'm like, why would you want to live in this? I don't understand it. Like, I was going to ask you what it was like going from living on a farm to living in Columbus for 4 years. I'm guessing it's been a lot big difference.
There's a reason why I go home every weekend.
Yeah. So when I went to Worcester at ATI, like, that's a small town. Like, I live, like, the one close to here, but I lived in town. I hated it.
Terrible.
I mean, like, I had neighbors. They'd look at me funny when I'm pissing in the front yard.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why we moved off campus. I mean, we got there's a nice little spot where I can go home, and, like, I always hated, like, having to walk through a door just to get to the elevator to get to your freaking room. Like, you don't feel like a home.
It's like you're staying in a hotel.
I mean, like, I would like to walk in the door and be like, that's home.
Yep.
I hear about parking tickets on my truck all the time. You know what I mean?
Yep. So one thing we never touched on, how does schooling work when you're at Ohio State and you're playing, like, one of the big
right. So with my major is horribly hard with football.
Yeah, what are you majoring in?
Agriculture systems management. So
Okay.
it's a science-based major, and which I didn't know.
You know you can change it as.
Yeah, I'm way too far into this now. So they told me, say, hey, like, I said, I want to get into agriculture. Like, it's going to help me farm. It's going to help me farm. So I get into agriculture. And they say, this is the best, broad basis of everything, right? You can get everything. Ag biz, animal science, all of it's branched in this, right? So I'm like, cool, let's do it. We can only take classes half the day in the fall. So we can only take them in the morning, right, in the fall, till 12. You can only take them till in the afternoon in the spring, right? In the summer, you can take them in the mornings.
It's because of workout and practice schedule.
I'm guessing there's a lot of animal classes that aren't on that schedule.
Oh my goodness gracious! It is a disaster.
So I
trying to
remember,
schedule
like, I
classes.
remember at ATI even, like that's an ag branch of Ohio State.
Right.
And there were several classes that if for whatever reason you didn't sign up for them that quarter, like at that time we were in quarters, or you failed it, you were done for 2 years because it wasn't available for 2 more years.
Right.
Or like,
Wow.
basically each class had it one chance.
Right. Yeah. It is such a and they work with you with it, but I'm taking an electrical class right now, from 5:20 to 8 o'clock, Monday and Wednesday.
That sounds
5:20
terrible.
in the morning.
No.
Oh, okay.
They played football at 5:20 in the morning.
Right.
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. Football's a hell of a lot easier playing at 5:20 in the morning than going to class.
Hell yeah! And I don't know what the hell's going on in this electrical class. I tell you what, man, it is rough.
So would you say electrical class? Are you like wiring outlets, or are you like doing
No.
electrical engineering?
Electrical engineering.
Yeah.
And it is just, I don't want to. Just teach me how to rewire. Like, if I want to wire a light fixture in my house one day, teach me how to wire that.
So when I was going to ATI, I went for the associate's version of agronomy, which is crop management or crop production. I can't remember which one they called it.
Okay.
But very similar. Like I wanted something that I could fall back on if like I got my leg caught in the combine or
Right.
something like that. But I also wanted something that would benefit me to run a crop farm.
Right.
And after about 1 year up there, actually probably the first quarter, I realized that I was going to learn more here in like 3 days than I'd ever learn up there.
I've learned more holding a flashlight than I have in 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's, like, I wouldn't, like, you know.
So I remember, like, I'm sure you have to take a bunch of bullshit electives too. And I
Western art.
yeah, I had to take one. It was a cultural diversion class, and it was African drumming. That was it was music, and somehow it had African drumming in like the name of the class. And I came home and like Dad would always ask, "What do you learn up there?" He always thought that I was going to come back with
world-wrecking
with
stuff.
the
Right.
knowledge, like the knowledge to make us
Make it work now.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I beat on a bongo drum for 45 minutes. And I thought he was going to drive there and like put a boot in someone's ass. Like he was not.
Right. I mean, but, like, you guys know, like, there's a time where, like, everybody was expected, like, you got to go to college, get a job. You
Yeah.
have to. And, like,
100%.
but now, like, I'm like, dude, like, for my kids one day, like, if you don't know what you want to do,
Yep.
I'm not sending you to college. I'm not sending you to college to go study Western art and Russian culture. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry, but that what the hell's that going to get you? You know what I mean?
Right.
And if they want to be a nurse or something along those lines, like, by all means, like, go get what you got to do, right? But anymore, the blue collar, like, trade jobs, like, you're going to make way more money doing that than you are getting a communications degree and making $30,000 coming out of college.
So I went to school.
Possibly have a lot more enjoyment.
Right? No kidding.
So, like I had 70 people in my graduating class, and of course we had some that were really smart, and they went on to become lawyers and doctors and that kind of crap.
Right.
And they had their noses up so high at the rest of us.
Right.
Well, I have probably 6 friends that are linemen. They all make more money than them now.
100, and those dudes come out of college with
Yeah.
$300,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Now, granted, yeah, there's good jobs and people got to do them, but I just like my girlfriend, for example. I keep bringing her up, but she's just a perfect example for this. She goes to college. She don't have a clue what she wants to
Just
do.
taking generals,
Doesn't
basically.
have a clue what she wants to do. Okay, smart as hell. Okay, smart, do whatever she wants. So smart. She gets a finance degree. Okay, gets a finance degree from Ohio State. She don't want anything to do with finance.
Gets bored with it.
She didn't want anything to do with finance. She didn't want to see the job and do Excel sheets. And I'm like, Kennedy, Lord have mercy, girl, come on.
Will you text my wife? She keeps calling the phone, and it's the one recording us.
Oh,
Well,
it's probably not great.
well, it keeps recording through a phone call, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like when I graduated in 2008, and at that time, basically the guidance counselor at school would make you feel stupid.
Right.
If you
didn't want to go to college.
Yeah, I mean,
And you probably know what you want to do, though. Like,
yeah, I did exactly.
like for me, I knew what I want to do since I was 5 years old. Like, I want to farm.
I
Yeah,
had no clue.
Really?
No clue. No.
Yeah. See, like I had no doubt about it.
yeah, I was pretty dead set on farming.
Like, no question. I'm going to farm, whether I'm farming with freaking horses or whether I have a nice piece of equipment. Like I'm going to farm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was little, I wanted to farm, and then, like you said a little bit ago, when I got in high school, it's like everybody had to go to college.
Right.
If you didn't go to college, you were not going to make it in society.
Right.
You were going to be living in the slums and
Right.
begging for food, and
Right.
so I went to college. and it was fucking boring. I mean, it was terrible.
Right.
It's a bad move.
The difference between me and him is, though, like, he's smart. But
Not too smart. It took me. I dropped out of college 4 times.
I only dropped out once, but a lot of that was by learning from you.
3 different institutions. Just paid off my student loans a couple months ago, actually, at 44 years old.
Yeah, but yeah, I think now, though, like, my wife is about to become a teacher, and it seems like it's no longer that way where they're really pushing. Like, it seems like there's a lot more, at least in our local school, a lot more acceptance that, you know, trade schools are viable job options.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is. Like, I mean, like, if you know what you want to do, I mean, a plumber, if you want to weld, like, go learn,
Yeah.
go get a job there, and
Absolutely.
watch somebody do it, and then you have something that nobody can ever take away from you now.
Yeah,
Like, that
and
skill nobody can take away from you.
One thing that drives me crazy about school, I mean, did you take any finance classes in high school?
No?
Me neither. So I had a class called Senior Seminar my last year of high school. The only thing I learned in that class was my social security number. That is the only thing that was a good takeaway. Wow. Like, we had to memorize that or you failed. To me, that was a perfect opportunity to teach a kid, like, hey, this is a checkbook,
Right.
and this is how you balance it.
Or here's how you do your taxes. Or
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, here's this thing called compound interest.
Right. Or
Like,
like,
when you fill out that FAFSA, this occurs.
The first business class I took in college, I had no idea what the hell compound interest was. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
right.
Oh, I remember my wife and I got our first mortgage payment for our house, and I think our mortgage payment's like $738. And at that time, it was a 20-year loan, so the first one was like $560 interest, $180 principal. And she's like, why is that? I'm like, well, babe, that's compound interest. That's how that works.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But it drives me crazy that, like, that isn't taught to kids.
I know. And it's such a.
Like, I remember your boy, like, your oldest, he told, like, I remember asking him when he was a senior in 2018, like, hey, how are you paying for college? He goes, I'm going to get financial aid. I'm like, well, how are you paying that back? He goes, oh, it's financial aid. I'm like,
Yeah, that was the answer. It's just financial aid.
like, you got to pay that back. I need a grant.
That's a loan, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like nobody. Like, there's so many kids and people that, like, when their tire goes flat or they don't know what to do.
No.
I mean, like, there should be. I mean, it's like beating a dead horse, but there's so many things that you need in life that you'll never, ever be taught in school.
Right.
I mean, like, realistically, you need math, to Algebra 1 probably?
I don't even know if you need Algebra 1.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Algebra is one of the things that you use, but you just don't know you're using. you know what I mean? You don't think about it.
Right.
You don't think of it X and Y.
Right, but, like, you'll never, like, at least for what I want to do, like.
Well, I was shocked whenever I was taking crop production. So it's a kind of an agronomy degree, but you're learning how to grow crops. You're learning that kind of crap. And like, I knew being around Dad, there's a decent amount of math involved in farming.
Right.
And I had to take 6 English classes or 4 English. I had an English class every quarter for the first year and a half.
Right.
I had 1 math class.
Yeah.
Like, why? This is dumb.
Right. And it's just a lot of, I mean, I don't know. It just.
So the first time my wife came to the farm and brought Dad lunch or something, he was spraying. He was mixing chemicals to put in the sprayer. And at the time, you remember when he used to just, like, make numbers in the dust on the side of the tank or the Sharpie or whatever?
He still put Sharpies on the
Yeah.
side.
So she's like, your dad has some kind of hieroglyphic scribbled on there. I'm like, well, that's probably, he was figuring he was converting, like, gallons to, like, quarts or liters or whatever. You know, he was figuring out his mix. She's like, wow, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm not so sure I can either, but
Yeah,
you're going to have to.
Well, I used to always have a calculator on his watch,
Yep.
and that was so you could.
Little Casio.
Yep.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Way back before smartphones.
Back in the day, you probably don't remember life without smartphones, do you? Do you
A
remember
little
that?
bit. I mean, I grew up. I never grew up with it. I mean, not
Yeah, but you were
till-
born in what, 2000?
Yeah, exactly. Good guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got. I mean, there were phones, but like, I mean, Dad had a flip phone until 2 years ago. Still.
Okay. So this leads me to another question I was going to ask you. How has social media impacted, like, the college, like, I guess just athletics in general? Has that made that a lot harder to navigate for, like, a young, impressionable college athlete?
It's both.
Okay.
Harder and easier at the same time.
So what's the positive from it?
It's easier to get your film around.
To get your what?
film around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like it's way, like it's so easy to get noticed. So like at the end of the season, you take all your good clips, you piece them together in a 5-minute video, like you do with YouTube videos, right?
Publish your huddle.
Right. Publish your boom. You got it.
Yeah.
Publish your huddle,
Been there,
and
done
then
that.
you put it in the bio of your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever.
Yeah.
So whoever comes by, click on that thing, and they can watch it. Or a lot of dudes go and you send emails. Like you look on Clemson, South Carolina, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame. Look on their website. Who's your recruiting director? Your recruiting director. And you clap it in, I'm Cade Stover, blah blah blah. Here's my highlights. Boom, send. Just pray you get a thing back.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to. I never really sent any of those emails.
Okay.
And like people would just kind of like reach out to the school and be like, hey, or just stuff like that. And you just kind of get, once one guy notices, everybody kind of notices.
Yeah. What would be the negatives of it?
It's just another issue to deal with.
Okay.
Like, it's so easy to get caught up in what people are saying behind the screen.
It's no
You
distraction.
got, just probably the same way with YouTube, right? Some people love it, other people hate it.
Yep.
Somebody always says some better way to do it, right? Somebody always has a better way to do
Expert
something.
everywhere.
And that's fine. Maybe they do, but I don't care I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like if you think I should block a different way on this play, like that's great. By all means,
Go eat your hot dog and drink your beer, buddy.
here's my helmet and pads. Like, do it.
Have at it.
You know what I mean? Just like the same way of farming. Like,
Yep.
oh God, you shouldn't till that land. Like, yeah, you're working ground on the hill. What are you gonna do?
Oddly enough, usually farmers criticize us more than anybody.
Really?
Yeah, because we're not farming their way.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yep.
they don't like this, and that's fine. And maybe they do have better ideas, but it's just as I've gotten older and learned to navigate it better, like
How was dealing with, like, I guess, I don't know, they still call them tabloids, like sports writers and like ESPN. Like how was it seeing like if you make a bad play and it ends up on ESPN Sports Center or something? How was that to deal with?
rough.
Okay.
It's also very, very rough when
You probably get it from everybody then.
Right.
Like people you know,
Right.
friends, family.
So like when you do have a bad game, because like as good as everybody is, you don't know what a good day is till you have a bad day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, like that Michigan game, for example, I think you dropped a pass in the end zone in like the fourth quarter.
right, broken up. But yeah, I never dropped that pass. His hand hit that thing before he hit my damn hands.
Well, I'm getting at, like,
Right.
you've probably seen that on a highlight reel at some
A
point.
million times. I hear all about it. And that's one of the
Is
ones
that something that's hard to shake off?
hard. I have that pictures. I have it printed out and framed in my bedroom.
Use that as motivation.
I have it, and I'm just like, I see it, like, because like when you go like grab the ball, right,
Yeah.
and then you go like you're taught to bring that thing down, but the DB is taught to bring and play through.
So his hand was up in there, wasn't
Right. So like I'm getting it and trying to bring it down, and he's coming up, and he punched the ball. Like it was awesome. It was a good play by him.
Yeah.
Like, right. And maybe a play. It's probably a play I make 5 out of 10 times. He makes 5 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Like, it's one of the ones that.
it? It's football.
Definition
did.
of a 50-50 ball.
All right, I didn't make the play.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish I would have. And
Next time it's
it hurts.
yours.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It hurts me to this day. I wish I wouldn't have made the play. Right.
Is that one of those instances, though, where social media and cable news or whatever is a huge distraction, or is that something you just don't?
See, during the season, I delete. My mom runs all my stuff.
Okay.
So I have no. I still don't have Twitter, just because it's.
Yeah, Twitter's a dumpster fire.
It can be a great place and it can be a dumpster fire.
It can be a disaster, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, that happens, and then everybody thinks that you got to catch it. And maybe
Yeah.
I wish I would have. I'm not trying not to catch that ball.
I got news. You're going to drop another pass at some point, or your pass is going
Right.
to get broken up
Right.
at some point.
That's
That's football. I mean,
right. That's what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's really hard to see like that reporter that wrote like, oh, he had a terrible game, and like, and that's fine. Maybe I did. And then the week after that, you play. So you play real good.
and he loves you
Yeah.
again.
Well,
And
or
he's-
they don't even know they don't even recognize that, right?
Right. And they'll reckon and be like, hey, awesome game. Like, how do you? And I just like for me.
So do you know?
Oh yeah, I know exactly. Are you ready about that? I know exactly who they are.
Okay.
Exactly.
So when they want to interview in the post game, are you just like,
if you ever watch some of my interviews,
Yeah.
you'll know.
So are any of the beat writers like? I know some of the pro writers, like the guys on the team, love them because they can say whatever in front of them, and they know it's not going to get published unless they say it's cool or they approach them the same way, good or bad.
Right,
know?
I'm with you.
You got guys like that.
There's a couple. There's a couple decent guys.
I would say you'd about have to be guarded, though, because you don't
Oh
have
yeah,
that guaranteed
you probably
money yet.
Yeah, you probably can't say.
I don't
whatever.
say. I don't say. I'm very, very. I used to be when I was younger. Like, oh, God, people are awesome. You know what I mean? And now they're your best friend when things are going good, but when things are rough, they're the first ones to freaking write it. They're going to write the article about.
Yeah.
The only reason why you see it, say you're on Instagram, you get tagged. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get tagged in something. You're like, what the who's supposed to tagging me? And you read the headline or something, and the first thing I look at is who wrote that thing, right? So when we're going to interviews and stuff like that, I'm looking at name tags for exactly who that is, right? And I told them, so like at the beginning, last fall during camp, right? Never played tight end before. I'm about to go in the first year as a starting tight end, right? They don't think I'm any good at catching balls or receiving at all, right? Okay, and the tight ends before me were supposed to be really good receivers, and they were. Jeremy Ruckett's unbelievable receiver. Okay, caught 25 balls, right, all year. They're like, how many balls do you think you'll catch? I said, I don't know. I'm just trying to win games, right? It's a typical. I'm just trying to win games.
Yeah. Just give a generic answer.
Right, I'm just trying to win games. And they're like, yeah, like, so you go and you see what they write, and like they're all betting like he's not going to catch more than 8 balls.
It's some of that you can't control.
Right.
I mean, if you only get 10 balls thrown to you over the first 5 games, I mean, what the hell are you going to do?
And I'm like, okay, that's cool. You know what I mean? Right. I end up catching like 38 balls.
That's what you caught last year?
Yeah.
And you're probably like the 4th option in that passing offense?
Right, like 3rd or 4th option, right? But you run
That's
good,
a hell of a season.
Like you run good enough routes, like you're going to be good, right? So
that's a hell of a season.
So we come back like just literally Wednesday we have practice. Media meets with the tight ends afterwards, right? And I hate it. God, I hate it.
So I was watching, was that April 5th or something that came out?
Right, it probably was.
Yeah, I was watching that on the way here, and I could tell you didn't look super pleased.
Oh, my gosh.
So what is it worse with the local guys or when the national guys come in?
Both. It is. Well, local guys are worse because it's guys you see all the time. And I told them.
And the national guys probably just have like a generic idea of who you are or what you're doing.
Right. And so I sit down there Wednesday, right? And I'm just, and they, of course, they bring it up like, so how many balls do you think you're going to catch this year? Like, what's your over-under this year? I said, last time I'm pretty sure you guys were the ones that say I was going to catch 8 balls, right? And now, like, everybody gets real quiet. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I might catch 8. I might catch more than 8 this year. Who knows? You know what I mean? And they're just, I don't know. And they're doing their job, okay? And they're supposed to write stuff for people to read, right? And and then the culture nowadays, people want to read what's wrong.
But it's very clear that they're there for them, not to be friends.
Oh, hell
Yeah, they're there to get paid too.
And that's fine. Like, I mean, I'm just.
But then they want to be personable and shit, and it's hard. Yeah,
right.
I guess.
Don't come and try.
Probably in a way, once you're in the league, it's probably easier to deal with media.
Oh yeah, I mean we've gotten
at that point you can pretty well just tell them to piss off.
Right. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure how
you're
all
not
that
a
works.
quarterback, so you don't have to sit at the podium after the games.
Right. And I'm not. All right. So I'd be happy when I don't.
So I watch a lot of. I like basketball, like NBA. I still watch a lot of NBA basketball.
Okay.
And I think it was Russell Westbrook always had some really good post game interviews. Just
unbelievable. Right.
just giving the death stare.
Right. All those guys. I mean, every single one of those guys tell you the same thing.
Being in your position, like living this life for 4 years now, I mean, is it? So I think it's really easy for someone like myself, a casual fan, to look at a professional athlete and think they're just being very dramatic or poor them. But after living, like, are you able to empathize with, like, just from being on YouTube and interacting with fans and stuff, which, like you were saying, most of the time it's great. But I guess what I'm asking is, can you empathize with, like, Russell Westbrook? Like, a lot of times he doesn't look like he wants to talk to anybody.
Wholeheartedly. With all of my heart, I can be like when I see a dude, like, miss a tackle or, like, in a big game or get blow coverage or drop a wide open pass, like, I'm like, oh, my God. Like, it hurts me, too, because I'm like, I know what that feels like, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, we don't. I mean, not about what everybody thinks about it, but I just know, like, gosh darn, like you've worked so long for that moment, right there, and you just missed it.
Yep.
Or you just are a little short. It's not like your effort's not bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you play 75 snaps a game, like at the end of that thing, I mean, you're tired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're gassed.
Yeah.
So it's just I mean, that's why nothing's ever perfect. Like,
Right.
no play ever works exactly designed, because that's what you sign up for.
Yep. Yep. After one of them games, like, are games way harder in practice?
No, practice is harder in games.
Okay. So in practice, are you guys hitting each other as hard as you are in games?
In camp, yes.
Okay.
So like in camp,
Really?
in camp you're grinding.
Okay.
So is that where everyone's competing for their spots?
Right.
Okay.
In camp you're
Okay.
grinding.
I thought maybe they just kind of reined it in a little bit.
No, and now during the weeks at practice,
Yeah.
like during Tuesday, Wednesday, when we have the pads on during the week, like it's much more controlled, right? But
Because I wouldn't think once positions are established, you'd want to hurt a starting player.
you wouldn't, right? You would not. But during camp, I mean, basically you set your pads. Right?
And I would imagine you say it's full contact, but I'd imagine like McCord and the other quarterback group, you still no.
Right. Don't touch the quarterback.
Yeah. Don't even look at him.
Don't even.
Right.
Don't blow on them. Just don't touch the quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. Like CJ, if somebody touched CJ, one, whether you meant to or not, you're gonna get your ass beat by somebody. Whether it's me, offensive lineman, or all of us combined.
So coaches don't even have to police that.
Oh no, you're getting whipped if you touch that quarterback. That's our guy.
Because like we were talking before we went on the air, like if you lay an egg in 1 week and because your quarterback got hurt in practice,
Right.
that's it.
Right.
They don't care. It's over.
Just like our quarterbacks with Kyle and Devin, like those guys, like just don't touch them.
Yeah.
Like in the defensive line, like we love. I'm so close to all those guys. Like they're awesome. And even on the different side of the ball, like they're awesome dudes.
Now,
And like
do you think in a way that's harder for those guys? Like they're competing for a job right now.
right.
Do you think without being under the pressure of getting hit, it's a little harder for them to?
What's that? The quarterback, you think?
Yeah, for them to like establish their rhythm and kind of get the feel for it.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, because I've
not-
never,
not your problem to worry
I've never
about.
done it,
Yeah.
but they're under like
So much pressure.
we're under like as a tight end, you're under a ton of pressure. As a receiver, you're under a ton of pressure. But that quarterback spot, you are like,
yeah.
I mean, you got the weight of the world. You got the whole state of Ohio just sitting on your back.
Well, like Brian said, everybody knows the coach and quarterback.
Right. You got the whole state of Ohio sitting on your back. And if you suck, Lord, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else. I mean, if you suck, you're going to hear about it. And that's fine. Like,
Yeah,
you're gonna
but
have a good day.
it does seem like losses get attributed more to the quarterback than anybody for
right.
some reason.
I mean, he has the ball in his hands the most, and that's what people want to. That's
Yeah.
what people watch the ball. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I've probably got a million more questions. I'm just going to probably remember them later.
That's how I am.
So I mean,
All
how
the
do you think your experience as a football athlete is going to relate? You know, when you come back to the farm, how's that? Anything you could take from
Oh yeah.
being an athlete and
Right.
apply?
I can I've learned so much about one, me,
Yeah.
and two, like CJ, for example, right? From California. City. Me from Mansfield, right? Country as hell.
Mm-hmm.
We come together, and I was very, very close with that kid because it's a mindset that he shared. The dude's a winner, right?
Yeah.
And like for me, like I'm always like in football, like you're always hungry for what you can be better at. Like you watch your film so intricately, like so every step, you know what I mean? Every hand placement, like you're like, I gotta get better at that. You always took for something to grab onto.
That's why YouTube, so I can watch my film later.
Right, there you go. You know what I'm saying? And I've just learned that, like, one, you're never as tired as what you think you are. That'd probably be the one thing I always like to say. Because whether you think you're gassed or not, like,
There's another gear in there.
you have it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
up here. It's your mind that you're not. You know what I mean?
How do you make that click? How do you get to the point where you know it's there?
I think it's passion.
Basically, you attempt to break yourself.
Yeah.
Like, basically, like we do a thing called mat drills, right?
Right.
So there's 6 mats, like wrestling mats set up along the whole indoor, 100 yards, okay? And you start, so there's tire pools at the station. So you and another guy, you got a tire. Blow the whistle and you're yanking the other dude around, or he's yanking you around, one of the two, right?
Probably that grip thing probably comes in handy there.
Yeah.
Boom, right? Smoke at the tire, unreliable tire drop. All right, but there's so many like different factors of like when you're running sprints and it's 3 o'clock in July, right? It's 90 degrees outside. It's just you and the strength coaches and the rest of the team out there, and you are freaking dying, right? I mean, you're running 80-yard sprints, right? You're huffing and puffing, right? You're running 20 or 30 out, okay? Like 30-second break, 10-second break, and just roll, okay? And at that moment when it is, you want nothing more than just lay down. Or like you see a plane go by, you're like, God, I don't care where that plane's going. I want to be on that plane, right? But at that time, you're like, God, like, and you see everybody else that you go through it with, you're like you got so much more. And once you figure that out, and like once you can get just past, it's just the smallest line that you can teeter on. Once you go past it, you can roll like for double the amount of time, I feel like.
So I've never played college football, but I'm a large, heavy individual, and at one point I ran a 5K, and I mean, for me that was an insurmountable feat because I hate running. Like you're just talking about running this at 3 o'clock. I'm like, I ain't running at 3 o'clock. I'd be sitting in the house or in the tractor. But I think I know what you're meaning in that after I felt like I was going to die for the first half a mile, it was like I was just coasting for a while.
Right.
Like still the same heart rate.
Right.
Still going the same
But you
speed.
almost forget that you're running.
Yeah.
It's like that you turn that off and like you're like, oh.
So I still don't like to run, but I did like that part of trying to run.
I've tried to explain to my kids, as they pursue whatever athletic interest. But I was a cross-country runner in high school. And you wouldn't know what to look at me now.
That's terrible.
But yeah, you get to a point, though, where it's like you crave that
you keep trying to
pain.
find that. Right.
It's not really pain.
It's not pain, but it's like it's just a feeling. It's hard.
And if you don't have that, it's like, man, I got to push harder.
Right.
And hell, I quit running like the day I graduated high school. I haven't gone back, as you can tell. Haven't gone back, but
Right. But yeah, I
when I was active every day, you crave to get to there.
Right.
And I was like, how do you make that click in somebody? I don't know.
Right. It just kind of. I mean, that's kind of a thing.
That's the difference between a D1 athlete and
Yes,
he hasn't
absolutely.
quit.
Absolutely.
Right. And there's just, I don't know. I don't know where it did for me, but it does, and you keep looking for that spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm guessing by the time you get to that level, I mean, is everyone on the team on the same page, or do you guys still have a lot that weed out, like in training camp?
They're like we don't ever lose anybody like to quit, but like we will. Like there's some kids that just
Has to be pushed.
right. I mean, just like everybody's different, right? Some people respond better to that. Some people don't need any help at all, and they come in there and they're golden, right?
Yeah. Are those people the ones that need that extra push, or are they the ones that are more natural athletes?
Sometimes.
They've just had. They haven't had the push. They've just been able to rely on.
They were always the
Sometimes.
best.
And then sometimes you get kids that are very, very naturally gifted and don't need pushed.
And they're the
And those are the dudes.
crazy ones.
Those are Marvin Harrisons and CJ Stroud. Those are the dudes that you're like top it in, dude. Like first round, like earlier first round pick kind of guy.
Gotcha. Well, dude, we've been at this for an hour and a half, and I can't thank you. I can't thank you enough for coming down here. And if you got anything else you want to talk about, I'm happy to let you. But I don't want to take up any more of your time if you don't want to.
I appreciate
especially if you're going to Mansfield, you got a haul.
No, I appreciate it. I was super happy to come down and meet you guys. I've watched you guys forever. So
Well, that's awesome. I can't remember if I reached out to you first or if you reached out to me first. And I was like I said, a casual Ohio State fan. I was like, well, damn, he farms too. Shit.
Are there a lot of guys on the team that, act background?
just me.
Just you.
Just me.
It's kind of like the FFA group over here when I was school.
Yep.
Lone
same.
wolf.
Yep.
Okay.
But no, I appreciate it, seriously.
Well, thank you. Where can everybody find you at on the socials?
CStove8 is my Instagram, and then my Twitter, same, CStove8, CSTOV8.
Okay. And what about that YouTube channel?
Don't go look at that. It's bad.
Oh, come on. It wasn't that bad.
If you guys go watch it, though, I'll attempt to make more, but
I think you shouldn't give it up. Keep at it. I thought it looked pretty good. But I watched your first video, and I was like, this ain't bad. I kept watching it.
Hey, remember, you just got to push through to the next gear.
yeah, that's right. Maybe I need to look at that like that, too. Turn that off.
It seems to me what you're doing is working out pretty good for you. Yeah. I mean, by all means, keep going at the YouTube if you want, but I wouldn't like prioritize it. I guess.
Maybe later in life.
Yep. All right, man. Well, hey, like I said, I appreciate you coming on and whatnot, and we'll just go ahead and shut her off now.
Hell yeah.